everyone, and welcome to our annual membership meeting. We're so excited to see you here today. My name's Angie Eikenberry, and I am the outgoing president of ARNOVA, and I'm excited to hear from Pierre Rogers later on today in this meeting. I want to just make sure to remind you that we're recording this meeting. And if you do have any questions for us, please post them in the chat. Before we get started, I wanted to ask if we can acknowledge the indigenous peoples of all the lands that we are on today. While we meet today on a virtual platform, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the land, which we each call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local indigenous peoples and their cultures. So please join me in a moment of reflection to acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past and to consider how we are and can each in our own way try to move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to now share my slides. All right. Well, I want to start by thanking the board members that have served this past year as your board representatives listed here, and you can see more information about them on the ARNOVA website under About Us. We want to just give a big thank you to everybody and all their work this past year, these past 2 years. We've had a lot of changes, a lot of things to address, and it's been just a wonderful group of people to work with, and I've been so honored to work with them. I also want to thank all of our committee chairs and committees, and again, those committee members. There are so many of you that have volunteered in many different ways, and please do go to the website, ARNOVA website, About Us section, and see the committee list as well. All of these committees have been working on various issues and areas. I'm going to mention a few of them a bit later in my presentation, but just know that everybody's working very hard to make ARNOVA great. I wanted to especially acknowledge our 2 conferences that we had organized to meet in person that we unfortunately had to, one of them canceled, the ARNOVA Asia conference, though a lot of work went into organizing that. And we are hopeful that we can have that conference again next year in person in Hangzhou, China. We'll see what happens, but we're hopeful about that. And then also thanks so much to the organizers of the ARNOVA and Independent Sector Policy Seminar, which had to be switched to virtual at the last minute, but I think was a great success. I just wanted to mention a few things that the board's been working on over the last year. This is just, I guess, a small sampling really, but of course, a lot of our work has been in welcoming our new executive director, Lynette Cook, who you'll hear from more a little bit later, and getting, onboarding. And it's just been a joy to work with Lynette, and we so much thank her for all of her leadership. And of course, we've just been doing a lot to respond to COVID, changing to get this conference online. Of course, the staff did, almost so much of the work, but the board had a lot of times where we had to meet to make decisions. We've changed a lot of how we've been meeting. We've been doing a lot more shorter virtual meetings, more frequent meetings, and also doing some of our work via Boardable. And I just really appreciate the board for being so flexible this past year in particular. But that's taken up a lot of our time. We've also been working on SAGE contract renewal. This is the time for renewing our contract with SAGE after, so the publications committee has been very busy working around that, and we appreciate them. And another area of work that we've been doing for the last year is working on an anti-harassment policy and process, and we're hopefully going to, the board will be doing hopefully a final review and voting on that very soon. I wanted to thank Erin Beaton, Abhishek Bhatti, Diana Mason, and Roseanne Mirabella for helping to draft that initial policy, and we've spent almost all year working on that. And then the board has also been doing some anti-racism work, or at least starting to, building on our work that we've been doing around diversity, equity, inclusion for some time, but continuing that conversation to more intently focus on discussing anti-racism and how we can continue to work towards being anti-racist in ARNOVA as individuals, as a board, as an organization. And of course, this is going to be ongoing, probably never ending work, but I wanted to just let you know that we have been having those discussions, and there should be some more discussion as an organization that we will be having going forward. And in particular, we're also planning for our 50th anniversary and talking about how some of that work can intersect with our 50th anniversary planning. And Pierre will have more to say about this when she is talking, but just wanted to let you know that that planning has been going on, and we're looking forward to a great conference next year, hopefully in Atlanta, if we're able to meet again. And thanks to Khaldun and Lindsay and Christina Balboa for already starting to work around that conference. And also thank you to Jen Wade Berg and Nuri Heckler for leading or helping to lead the 50th anniversary task force. Now I'm going to hand it over to Thad, who will give you an update on our finances.
Thank you.
Sorry, I'm going to need to.
I put on a tie for the occasion so that people would take me more seriously. So this has obviously been quite the interesting year from a financial management perspective. Can we forward the slide to the next one? Okay. So the big part of the report is the 2019 audit, which was completed. Much of it was completed prior to the pandemic really hitting, but it was wrapped up during the very early stages of the pandemic. It was a clean audit, so that was impressive, given that Lynette had to manage that as one of her first tasks coming in as the executive director. Also thank Sharik for leaving the organization in a situation where the audit was a clean audit opinion, and we were able to get through the process relatively easily. It was on time. There was no management letter, which means they did not find any issues that they needed to discuss with the board. The auditors needed to discuss with the board. The final numbers for ARNOVA last year. Now this bullet point I almost didn't put in because I know this could make someone's heart race when they see it on its own. We had a total deficit of a little over $500,000 on $1.3 million of revenues, but that the total is underlined for a reason there. It's mostly a timing issue because we received restricted grants in prior years. If you recall, a couple of years ago, we had an $800,000 surplus. And so it's recorded in the year that we received it, and then we earn the revenue, when we spend it. So we didn't really lose $500,000 in 2019. If you look at the financials, the column, the revenues without donor restrictions, we had about $1.9 million of revenue without donor restrictions, and we actually had a small surplus on that. And that's more of what we need to look at from an operations standpoint. We had a very small operating surplus in 2019, about a 2% operating margin, which is small, but not terrible given the what's been going on. You can go to the next slide. So what people probably care more about is what's going on right now in 2020. Surprisingly enough, we're doing better than budget right now. Right now we have an operating surplus of about $189,000. That will be cut roughly in half once we expense some of the items that we've paid for the conference, now that the conference is happening. So some of that is a timing issue again, but it's still, we're still running a surplus, which is better than what we had expected to be doing at this point in time. Revenues are running below budget, about 5% below budget. It's most of the revenue categories. There's nothing that sort of stands out as being especially problematic. Everything's running a little bit low. Nothing is tragically low. But we're doing better mainly because expenses are almost 30% below budget. That I will attribute to Lynette doing an excellent job keeping an eye on the bank accounts, not spending money that didn't need to be spent, really making an effort to make sure that ARNOVA remains in strong shape. The surplus does not include money that ARNOVA received from PPP, which was the federal program. It's going to be most likely a forgivable loan. So we've received cash from that program, but it has not been, it has not hit the income statement yet. And the conference looks to be breaking even. We certainly have fewer expenses because we're not in person, but we did have other expenses that made up for it, between the technology, having to pay hotel fees for, you know, canceling contracts, things like that. Go to the next slide. So in 2021, we are entering, you know, when we entered the pandemic in early 2020, we were in good financial shape to begin with. You know, during market volatility in March and April, where there were big swings day to day, we didn't have to sell, you know, securities, you know, to pay bills. So that was good. We started off strong. We seem to be stable still. And we are usually, when we are at the conference, we have the board meeting where we discuss and pass a budget. We'll be doing that in the next couple weeks. We are actually looking at several different financial scenarios for next year. Obviously, the big issue is, you know, there's so much uncertainty. We don't know exactly, you know, what to plan for. So we've done, Lynette and staff have done a great job of working with the Finance and Audit Committee to come up with several scenarios, and then we will discuss and vote on that at the board meeting next month. I guess we can open it up for questions at this point. I didn't say we did get the 990 in on time too, which, given everything going on with COVID, I did not think that was a small task. So we're not running afoul of the IRS either. If anyone has questions, but they either think of them later or they're uncomfortable asking them in this situation, you should certainly feel free to reach out to myself. You can email me whenever you want to, and we can either talk or email with your concerns or questions.
Do you see the question from Rebecca? Is there a goal to maintain a 1-year operating expense buffer?
That is actually, so last year, the Finance and Audit Committee started to have a conversation about what our policy should be about that. That was actually happening at the end of 2019, right around the time we were in San Diego. And the intention was to get that policy cleaned up in 2020. And obviously that did not happen in 2020. So one of the tasks that we need to return to as a committee is clarifying what the goals of our investments are, what the goals of our of sort of a reserve account, what our goals and policy should be around that. I guess informally, there's always been an almost 1 year buffer for operating expenses. It's been sort of ad hoc. There's nothing stated in the policies. Given what happened in the pandemic with 2020, I suspect that an increasing focus on maintaining liquidity, not just having assets, but having actually liquid assets that we would have access to without having to sell them, might become more of a priority than if we had passed a new policy in 2019. So it's a good question, and it's one that we actually want to deal with in 2021. Thank you for the question.
All right, Dad, are you ready for me?
Yes.
Okay. So here's the thing. Angie asked me to provide the director's update this morning, and for the first time in a year, I'm not actually going to do what she asked me to do. Instead, I will prepare a written report for you and share it with all of you in December, as well as the slides that we created that Angie thought I was going to talk about will be available for you today as well. I'm engaging in this little act of rebellion for one very important reason, namely so that we can take my 10 minutes on the agenda this morning and put it to much better use by thanking Angie for her incredible service as board president. We sent out an email asking folks to share pictures, videos, comments about Angie's tenure. I tried to reach as many people as possible without accidentally letting her know about this little project. So if I missed you, I'm sorry. And if you have anything you'd like to contribute, it's not too late. We can add it to the video. Just email me or let me know. For now, we'd like to share this video with you and with Angie.
Hi, Angie. On behalf of several of your colleagues here at UNO, we just wanted to say congratulations on completing your presidency with ARNOVA. We are also grateful for you and all of your support and are always here to cheer you on. So congratulations.
Thank you, Angie. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh no.
You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know where sunshine
Thanks, Curtis.
my sunshine away.
Oh, wow, you guys.
Okay, Angie, I believe your husband gave you 2 packages this morning. Could you please open those now?
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Oh, what such amazing memories and wonderful. Thank you. Okay. I've got this letter, note card. Thank you very much. It's lovely. Should I open this one first? I can't believe it. Okay. I don't think everyone can see because of my screen, probably. Wow, what is this? It's a cube.
It's there's a piece inside that's still in the box somewhere. It's a vote paperweight. Your daughter helped us pick that one out.
Whoa.
Proceeds from that go to a voter registration organization. You can find all the details there's a card in the box for you.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you.
And then the other one.
Okay, everyone, this is a big, huge package. I don't know if you can't see it because of my blue screen. Pretty good wrapping here. I might have to, I don't know if it might take me a while to unpack. It's very.
Okay, I can share.
Bubble wrap. Yes, it might take me.
That is a portrait with a Maya Angelou quote on it, and a portion of the proceeds that there's a donation being made to an education nonprofit that focuses on supporting Black and brown young girls.
Wow, thank you so much. I'll take a picture of it and post it for everybody. How about that?
Great.
Amazing. Wow.
Great. And Pierre, now I think you wanted to make a few remarks on behalf of the board. Get her camera turned on.
There we go. Good morning, everybody. Yes, Angie, we would like to thank you. Your service has been amazing. I think you've been getting a lot of congratulations anyway, but this past year has been particularly challenging. We know you had to deal with an executive director transition. You held down the fort yourself, along with the board during that time. You chaired the search. You also were a really great person to help me in my transition as the incoming president-elect. And we just appreciate your service. ARNOVA would not be the same today if it had not been for a lot of what you had done in terms of helping us to bring Lynette on board as well. So we thank you very much. And we're glad that you were surprised this morning.
Very surprised. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pierre, for your kind words and for everybody for your support. I mean, this is a team effort, really. And I've just been so honored to be able to do this. And I'm going to start crying, so I'm going to stop talking.
Thank you. And we've actually taken control over the screen from you. And
okay.
We'll move on now without you, to give you a minute.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So I just want to say crying can be good. Don't even worry about it. We're glad. That means that you've been moved by all of this. And we know how much ARNOVA means to you. And you have passed on that to me as the incoming president. And I am honored to speak with everyone now as your incoming president. We're at a moment of imminent change, as I heard a phrase in a recent On Being discussion on NPR. Let's consider how we might take advantage of this moment in our own lives, both personally and professionally. My mother was looking forward to this moment when I officially became ARNOVA's president. She knew ARNOVA well and sat in a session to hear me present at a conference some years ago. She was 95 years young when she passed away in May. She and my father were the first in many instances in their respective professions, and would be proud to see their daughter stepping into this role as the first African-American woman to hold this position in ARNOVA. Also, to my knowledge, I'm the first academic in this role. So what does that mean to me? It's an opportunity to bring all of who I am to this work. In offering my perspective as a academic, I hope to help strengthen part of ARNOVA's mission that says we're a diverse community of scholars, educators, and practice leaders. We will continue with our DEI anti-racism goals and work that was begun in years past and taken up most directly by our outgoing president, Angie Eikenberry, whom I've asked to continue heading that work alongside Jasmine Johnson as co-chair of the Diversity Committee. Our environment has been an especially challenging one for the past months, with the pandemic, the crisis in terms of racial justice issues, as well as the leadership changes at ARNOVA. But thanks again to the leadership of Angie and Lynette as our ED for just 1 year, and her team, as well as the board and the cooperation of you as our members, we've been able to survive and thrive. As you heard already, ARNOVA is doing well given this crisis context. Managing to flip our conference to this virtual format was no easy task. Lynette's team did a phenomenal job in researching and figuring what would work best for ARNOVA within our budget. We are used to being together in person, where we bump into each other in the hallways, sit in sessions, present papers, give feedback, and learn of colleagues with similar interests. Figuring how to meet for a drink after the session has been quite a different experience this year, but we're managing in spite of it all, and hope that it's not too long before we can again literally bump into each other. Given the environment we're in right now, though, I'd like to ask some questions. Are we, as an association that engages with research questions in the nonprofit, social sector, civil society, asking the questions that need to be asked now? Are there ways that we can more deeply engage in order to enhance civil society? One of my colleagues recently expressed a view that too often research is motivated by determining what will most likely be published. That is important for sure, as moving along the academic career trajectory is key for many. However, we always need to ask ourselves what more we might do. Through our research, might we contribute to creating healthier and more humane societies? I'm a baby boomer, folks. And just as I recall from earlier days of my master's in social work program, when we studied Erikson's stages of human development, we do actually get to a point in our lives where we question what difference we've made and seek ways to make an impact if we haven't already. I ask myself that question on a regular basis. I also see opportunities for us as ARNOVans to regularly ask ourselves that question and to respond in ways that are authentic for each of us. The point, though, is that we always at least ask ourselves what difference we've made, not just what work we've done, but what was the impact. I hope that my 2 years in this role will help continue to move ARNOVA forward so that we always consider ways to support young scholars and practitioners in their work and career trajectories, that we always consider ways that we're welcoming and inclusive of all, and that we continue to learn more about each other across our differences and similarities, so that we can bring all of those qualities together in advancing ARNOVA's mission, that we consider new ways to bring academics and practitioners together in joint consideration of the research and practice that will improve civil society, that we continue to encourage folks across the globe to join us and bring their research and practice questions and findings to share so that we may all learn and grow to inform and advance civil society. Thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to it and to seeing you next year as we begin the celebrations of ARNOVA's 50th anniversary. Thank you. Angie?
Angie, are you? Okay.
I'm here. Thank you so much, Pierre. I'm so excited for your leadership and for everything you've done for ARNOVA already, and it's going to be a great next 2 years. Okay, we want to open it up to now any new business items anyone wants to raise, or any questions anybody has for me or Lynette or Pierre or Thad. And I don't, Lynette and Thad, did you see any comments or questions in the chat box?
Not any yet.
We'll give folks a couple of moments.
Yeah, give them some few minutes to type.
Well, if there are no new business items or questions, of course you all know how to get in touch with us. Please do reach out. I want to really encourage you to go and check out the awards section of the website of the conference platform, to make sure that you watch the video by our Distinguished Leadership Award winner, Dr. Melissa Stone, as well as all the other award winners. And we have a poster session coming up as well.
Angie,
yes.
there is a question. What's up for the 50th?
Oh yeah, that's Pierre. Go ahead, Pierre, please. I'm punting that to you.
Oh yeah, now's the time to punt, right? So Angie mentioned that Jennifer Wadeberg and Nuriel Heckler are the co-chairs for the 50th. We started early 2020 with some great plans. And of course, everything got pushed back. We realized that one of the things that we had wanted to start doing was to start reaching out to sponsors. And we realized that that was not going to work because of all of the uncertainties and that folks just had other priorities. We had started talking about what kind of local committee in terms of sponsors to be potentially a part of the 50th anniversary committee we would have in Atlanta, we had to put that on hold. So we are now looking to rolling out what we're going to be doing. And we've determined that we will be spreading our 50th celebrations over a longer period of time. We will start in 2021 and be doing some progressive kinds of activities at the conference in November, whether it is in person, hopefully. Whatever format it takes, we'll be doing some celebrations, but we'll then be continuing into 2022, and that will be the conference in Raleigh. So we'll have a very long time to be celebrating the 50th. And in the midst of that will be the NBSQ celebration of their 50th. I know Brenda Bushouse and folks on her committee are looking at the history and ways to do some celebration in that regard. They put out an ask to folks to do some kind of self-interviews, comments on people's reflections on their time with ARNOVA. And it will be really, really important to hear from folks. We didn't want those interviews just to be limited to leadership, but to really hear from the members who've been involved. You can have been involved from the beginning, or you can have been involved in recent years, but just the ways in which ARNOVA has impacted you, your career, yourselves personally, and so on. So those are some of the ways that we're thinking at this point.
Pierre, there's been another question. When will the board make a decision about whether ARNOVA Atlanta is in person or virtual?
We're going to be talking about that. One of the challenges has to do with the hotel contract. And we have to be aware of possible penalties and so on. So the board is thinking about it and we'll be talking about it. And as soon as the board makes a decision, we will definitely let the members know.
There was also a question I answered in the chat, but just so everybody knows, we have at this point, oh, I said 718, but I think it, oh yes, it is 718 registered attendees for this conference. So,
and that is amazing.
We were
Consider this is our first virtual conference. Consider that we planned to have it face-to-face and had to flip. So that is just kudos to the members, kudos to our staff, kudos to our board for folks coming out and supporting us. And I think it's worked well. I was curious about how in the world are we going to feel connected in the way that we're used to, but I think it's working. So thank you, everyone.
There was another question. There are 91 people currently on this call.
And it is being recorded and it will be shared for others to view.
Yeah, we will put it on the virtual platform as soon as possible. I think that's
and all. The ARNOVA Stories link is here too.
Yes, and we'll make sure that's on the website as well. Oh, that's the link to the website. There you go. I don't see any other questions at this point.
Any other questions anyone has?
I'm going to make one last plug, particularly for those of you who think the conference has gone well. But even if you don't think the conference has gone well, please go to the left navigation pane of the virtual platform. Down towards the bottom, you'll see evaluation form. I know you all of you understand collecting good data and evaluation. So please, before you leave the conference, let us know what you think, particularly because there's still the possibility of doing a virtual conference in the future. The more data that we get from you, the more we learn what works and what doesn't work, the better we'll be able to do next time. Thank you.
Thank you. And please make sure that you attend the poster sessions that are going to be starting in about 15 minutes. And there's some great poster sessions there. Please go and attend. And of course, we have many sessions for the rest of the day. So, and is there any other, anything else, Pierre, Lynette, Thad, you want to add?
visit our exhibitors and sponsors too. If you
Yes.
visit all of them, you'll be entered into a raffle for a swag bag that we'll send you, including, I keep pushing, we made custom made ARNOVA face masks. You know you want one.
Yes.
So let me just say thank you also to Lindsay and Khaldoon and all the folks from membership who were involved in helping to plan the sessions and thinking through what sessions needed to look like in this virtual format, because it's a whole nother ball game when you go from people standing in front of the room to present to what does it look like on this platform. So thanks to them too.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, well, it looks like we are going to adjourn this meeting, and we'll see you in other sessions. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.